82 degrees Fahrenheit. It's expected to go up to 28 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 82 degrees Fahrenheit. I did say 82 earlier, but it's 80. Currently it's 80. But yes, Randy, as you said, it's the Queen's official birthday. It's not a happy birthday for the people in London especially, and particularly for the people in Kensington, who have experienced that fire at the Grenfell Tower. You ask, how has it happened? That is the question which the investigators would have to determine. But Randy, it is a sad indictment on the officials, and if you listen to all the reports coming out of that, you would see the ire, the anger, the frustration of people who have apparently have complained over time, years in some instances, about their own concerns about the safety of the building. And as we are hearing now, the official death toll stands at about 30, but it is expected to rise because there are over 70 people still missing.
One of the tenants saying that the fire escape area, they had gas lines running in that area. Who does the checking on these buildings?
Yes, there have been several stories, and as I said, the frustration of not just tenants but people living in the area. People, as a matter of fact, people throughout London and throughout the country have now become concerned about what has happened. There appears to be a major safety issue because apparently the building was just refurbished with what they call putting cladding on the outside, which is a covering to make the building look pretty, as some people have put it. But prettiness is not necessarily safety, and therefore, many people have perished. Many innocent people have perished in the fire, and the true scale of it is still to be uncovered. But it's really a sad day in London. It's the Queen's birthday. Today's the day, well, her official birthday, that is. Today's the day when she will be handing out gongs, so to speak, where people will be honored and so on. And even the Queen, in her own official statement today, she has asked London to reflect on the somber mood, on the somber national mood that is pervading at the moment. People are frustrated. The people, especially residents in that part of London, are frustrated by the way the people, the residents of the Grenfell Tower have apparently been treated by the powers that be over time. So I think time will tell. We know that Theresa May has announced a public inquiry. People are not happy with just a public inquiry. They want more. And we know that she has said that £5 million have been set aside, to assist residents to get back on their feet, so to speak. But a lot more needs to be done, and there's a lot of fire coming from people who have experienced what has gone on there.
If I'm living in one of those high-rise buildings nearby, anywhere in London, it would be pretty hard to sleep if I'm up on one of those 20th stories or something like that. How are people coping?
Absolutely, Randy. And we have heard stories. There are people who, stories circulating in the media, even if it's not mainstream in social media, where people are actually saying, and you're quite right, people who live in similar tower blocks are saying, how do they expect us to sleep at night? We need to be assured that the building we are in is safe. I mean, because you hear stories coming out of that Grenfell Tower building where people have been, where there's no sprinkler in the building in the event of a fire, where there are no fire extinguishers. The MP for Tottenham, David Lammy, he burst into tears in an interview on Channel 4, which is a television station here. And, essentially those are the points that he was making, that in modern-day Britain, these are the issues which confront us, and these are the issues which ought not to be confronting us. So hopefully the investigation will reveal much more, and people will become clearer as to who is culpable, what happens to those who are culpable, and where we go from here, and to ensure the safety of people in similar buildings. Having said that, the housing minister has come out and said that that they will be investigating and looking at similar buildings and what safety measures need to be put in place from here on in. But so, Randy, only time will tell. It's a phrase which is well worn, but time will tell as far as those things are concerned.
Yeah, it's as murky on the other side as it is in your area. They're investigating the President of the United States for obstruction of justice.
Randy, I think I told you before that the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, he is in many instances, maker of what is happening to him. Those tweets that he put out at whatever hour at night or in the early morning, they are going to come back to haunt him. And we have not heard the last of this story in the United States of America. It's going to get a lot murkier than what it is at the moment. Again, as far as that is concerned, time will tell.
Yeah, the view from the outside isn't looking that good down here in the Caribbean. But what you get to share with us this morning?
It is not looking good either, Randy. I can tell you that. Before I do so, though, let me just wish all the fathers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines a happy Father's Day tomorrow. And let me wish all the fathers of the world a happy Father's Day. I wish particularly you, Randy, a happy Father's Day. And I wish my own stepfather, Edward Bob of Mount Grennan, a happy Father's Day. And my brother, Maurice Horne, and all the other fathers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And who else is listening, and wherever you are, I wish you a happy Father's Day tomorrow. I truly do. On a view from the outside this week, Randy, we look at the issue of autocratic rule, with the view being that St. Vincent and the Grenadines appears to be seized by autocratic rule, and that such seeming autocratic rule is eating away at the heart and soul of the nation. The Cambridge Dictionary defines autocratic as relating to a ruler who has absolute power. And it goes on to say a ruler who is taking no account of other people's wishes or opinion, or a domineering ruler. English poet William Cowper is famous for the poem entitled The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk. Now, Alexander Selkirk was a Scottish sailor who was banished at sea for insolence and insubordination. He survived the 5-year ordeal, and William Cowper wrote the poem in recognition of that. While we, from a view on the outside, are not attributing autocratic rule to Alexander Selkirk, the first 4 lines of William Cowper's poem appear to aptly define what is currently happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And those 4 lines are, I am monarch of all I survey. My right there's none to dispute. From the center all wrong to the sea, I am lord of the foul and the brute. Having listened to the last parliamentary session in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it came across as if the leader of the regime has literally adopted those lines and has given oxygen to them. Many have commented that it was embarrassing listening to the bile which was spewed by the leader when he was challenged, and rightly so, on accountability. Many have described the behavior as that of a school-ground bully who thinks he can solve problems by getting angry and spewing insults. Many have said that such behavior is unbefitting of Parliament and of a leader who boasts of an ennobled Caribbean civilization. It has to be noted that such reprehensible conduct is instantly broadcasted to the international world, and that not only Vincentians are listening and witnessing such behavior. Many have said also that such behavior, more than anything else, contributes significantly to diminishing the reputation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the eyes of the international community. It is clear that accountability is proving to be a thorn in the side of the current regime, and in particular, in the side of the leader. However, as difficult and as uncomfortable as the questions on accountability are, resorting to shouting and ranting and hurling insults will only fuel the suspicion that something is being hidden and that every effort is made to keep it hidden. Every reasonable opinion has concluded that accountability must be provided in the way dictated by the Constitution, the supreme law of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so, shouting and behaving autocratically by trying to take no account of other people's opinion, by being domineering, will not make accountability disappear. Calling in on radio programs and ranting will not do. Making innuendos, which caused radio personality Richard Joachim to disappear from radio into oblivion, will not do. Creating fear and causing otherwise upstanding citizens to recede into silence will not do. Trying to put out of existence the medium which the dispossessed and oppressed have to express their voice and their opinions will not do. Accountability is a must. The autocratic signals are simply awful. The country is losing its soul as a result of it. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not North Korea. It is worth noting that another name for an autocratic ruler is a dictator, such as the one in North Korea. It is worth noting, too, that history is replete with examples of autocratic rulers or dictators and what has happened to them over time. Hosni Mubarak ruled the people of Egypt in an autocratic fashion for 30 years. The people's anger and frustration bubbled over, and they eventually booted him out of office. He was later jailed, along with his son, for having embezzled millions of dollars worth of state funds. Saddam Hussein ruled Iraq in an autocratic fashion for over 30 years also. He had to run for his life when he was found hiding in an underground hole before he was captured and later sentenced to death in December 2006. Muammar Gaddafi, who was a friend of the current regime in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Muammar Gaddafi, he ruled Libya in an autocratic fashion for over 40 years. When his government was overthrown in 2011, the world witnessed the pictures of a man who was once so powerful, cowering in and hiding in a culvert before he was captured and killed. Manuel Noriega of Panama also had an extremely unpleasant demise. And so too did Augusto Jose Ramon Pinochet, the Chilean dictator. So the lessons of history are there to be learned. And one would hope that those who are practicing autocratic rule in St. Vincent and the Grenadines do not continue to ignore those lessons, End the bravado. That's what we say from a view from the outside. End the bravado. End the arrogance. End the anger. End being a bully. Stop thinking you are supreme. Stop dodging accountability. You are not the monarch of all you survey. Any right which you try to impose on the people, which is contrary to the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, will be disputed by the very people. You are not lord of anyone. You are accountable to the people. Be accountable and provide the people with due accountability. Know that people of a suppressed and oppressed nation act with venom and vengeance upon their oppressors to obtain relief from their oppression. Let us hope that those who hold the reins of power in St. Vincent and the Grenadines bear in mind always the most telling words of Mahatma Gandhi. And Gandhi said, through history, there have been many tyrants and murderers. And for a time, they can seem invincible. But in the end, they always fall. Think about it. Always. Randy, until next week, this is Brereton Horne with a view from the outside, reminding our listeners to send feedback, as usual, to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. That's aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. Randy, you have a very pleasant Saturday. Have an enjoyable Father's Day tomorrow, you and all of the fathers listening, and have a very fruitful week ahead. Thank you very much.
Brereton, let me thank you. And